Okay.
I'm going to do a little pan over from Lillian to you, and that'll be cool.
Okay.
You know, like kind of... Go.
Sono lieto di poter rievocare in poche parole le esperienze delle prime trasmissioni radiotelegrafiche a grandi distanze da me felicemente eseguite attraverso l'Oceano Atlantico il 12 dicembre 1901.
Holy snapping bra straps.
It's a podcast.
Republic of Avalon Radio. It's 0 hours, Avalon Standard Time.
This is Mike Hanrahan and you're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
السلام عليكم. أنا الكبير هليلي من بني ملال في المغرب وكتسمعوا للراديو Republic of Avalon.
Hey everybody, this is Slough and you're listening to The Roar, Republic of Avalon Radio.
I'm Tara Dove and you're listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
You're with the Roar!
Republic of Avalon Radio. You're with The Roar. I'm Jim Fidler, and welcome to episode 27 of The Roar. It's great to be back after a little bit of a hiatus. It seems like it's been ages because we did that kind of Roar, what was it, the Roar in Review. And it was a lot of fun bringing all those shows out to you guys. And it's a new year, and we're starting out with a new look. I have Lillian here with me, and Lillian seems to have completely hijacked the Roar, our website at republicofavallonradio.com. What's up with that?
Hey everybody. I guess I did kind of hijack it.
Yeah.
But it was all very much needed.
Uh-huh.
It was just thrown up there in the beginning, so yeah. It looked like that too.
Okay.
So basically I took it and overhauled it, and I guess just kind of made it a little neater, a little easier for people to find things, a little bit more intuitive probably.
That's what we're all about here. We just wanted to make it so easy for us to use that maybe you guys might find it easy too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can find all the little extras that are on the Roar website. Like
there are perks?
There are perks on the Roar website, yeah. There's all kinds of things that people can do. They can go into the pub. And now you'll see a little glass of beer. They're overflowing with froth, I guess you would call it.
Joy.
Joy.
It's overflowing with joy.
And when you see the beer mug, that's how you get into the pub.
Okay.
And we have Frapper. That's where you can put yourself on the map and put a picture of yourself.
We've had more and more people adding themselves to the Frapper map.
Yeah, we have. And Flickr, there's lots of good pictures up there. And we just, in the last few days, purchased a new digital camera.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yeah, it's a 6 megapixel, and that's going to be plenty to do what we want to do for you guys. The main thing was for the Roar, basically, and a bit of web stuff for Lillian and what she does. And for you folks that don't know, Lillian has a graphic design / web development company. And anybody who's interested in checking that out, just go to lillianfidler.com and just witness the quickness.
Yeah, and we already have some pictures that we took the night we got the camera. we figured it all out and brought it down to the pub with us. And we have a couple of pictures of Graham Wells and Mike Hanrahan on Flickr.
And one of myself and Dave Dalton on his birthday.
So we've tried it out already.
Yeah, so go check that out. We've also got the new player up there, especially for folks who aren't subscribing. And I might point out that subscribing is the best way to go, and that's another thing that's new up there as well. It's a one-click button that will pretty much fix you up, whether you're using, Yahoo or something like Juice. It used to be called iPodder. You can click on that, and it should be a fairly easy thing to subscribe, and that way you get the shows. You don't have to keep going and trying to download them or look for them or whatever. Whenever there's a new show, it'll just come to you automatically. But for the rest who don't subscribe, who aren't subscribed, you can actually go, and there's a player there now on the website, and you can just listen, not just to the most recent episode, but to all the episodes. They're right there. Just click and play.
And it's a cool little kind of graphic. Looks like a little player, like an iPod or something. It will come up in front of the website. Yeah. And then you can just scroll down through, and you can play or stop, rewind, pause.
And all them things.
All them little things on it.
It's magic.
It's quite cute, it is.
Uh-huh.
And we also have Skype Me, which is... you can just click on this one button, and it will actually set you up to send a Skype message to the Roar.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, it'll just place the call. So if you already have Skype, there's a one-click button there, so you don't have to whatever. You don't have to do anything but click, and then you're on your way to calling the Roar line.
And the other thing that's new and very exciting is Wiki show notes.
Yeah, we've got the show notes now. We've got a wiki set up for the show notes, and you guys can go in and edit them. If you see anything missing or anything that you feel should be added or whatever, go right ahead and click on the edit button and just give yourself a username and a password and fill your boots. Go on in, edit the show notes, and help us keep all the information up to date and all that sort of jazz. We overlook things from time to time. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we have, of course, the Roar Emporium.
The Roar Emporium?
Yeah, the Roar Emporium.
What's that?
That's where you can go and purchase good music and stuff.
Really?
Yep.
What kind of good music we got in the Roar Emporium?
We got Jim Fidler in there.
Right on.
We got T-shirts.
Really?
We got one T-shirt anyway.
Really? What kind of a T-shirt?
Jim Fidler T-shirt.
Oh, what about the Roar T-shirts?
The Roar T-shirt will be going up there.
When?
Could I say very soon? Okay, how about it will be up there, I would say, this week. There's no reason why it can't be up there this week.
All right, send send us email, and I'll just forward it all on to Lillian, nagging her about getting the Roar T-shirts. They're great T-shirts. I have one on right now.
Yeah.
And they're right dandy in that.
They are. And if there's anything else you guys would like to see up on the website, just let us know.
Yes, and one other little thing. We've heard from a few people who, because they're on dial-up, can't listen to the Roar. But it brings the question up. We mentioned it quite a while back, and didn't seem to be enough interest, really, to justify anything. But it seems that there are a few of you out there who would like to receive the Roar, maybe like on DVD or something like that. And I don't know if you guys have any suggestions about that. Let us know, and we'll do our best to accommodate you. Because some people, it's just they can't facilitate, or seemingly can't facilitate the whole thing with the connections that they have. The downloads would take too long, and so on and so forth. I mean, if you're on 24/7, the whole idea of the whole podcasting thing in the first place, it wasn't for people with souped up systems. The whole idea was you can subscribe to shows, and it would just download whenever you're sleeping or off to work or spending time with your family or hanging out in the backyard or whatever. That was the whole idea in the first place. So podcasts aren't just for the souped up. very much. If you're on a slow connection, all the more reason to subscribe to the podcast and let it just download when you're not even there thinking about it. So what if it takes all night to download the show? You get up first thing in the morning, boom, there's a new show there. So that's something I would say to bear in mind for some of you. And what else did we have to cover here before we move on with the rest of the show? One thing is we've been toying around with Ventrilo.
Oh yes.
And we don't have anything at the ready here for that, though. There's no links on the website. We'll put a link in the show notes mentioning how you can get set up. It's very simple. You just install Ventrilo on your system, and it has there are clients for both Windows and Mac. So if you're a Mac user, no problem. There is a Ventrilo client for you. And what this is, it's voice chat. I think we can take up to 10 people at one time or something like that. Or is it five or 10? Oh, I think it's 5. 8? I don't know. Between 5 and 10.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, that's just a mechanism so that we can, us and fellow Roar people can get together and just sort of have a chat maybe on some Friday night or something like that. Especially you folks further out west, like Nancy out in BC. We could be just coming back from the pub and meet up with you guys on our Ventrilo server, and we could just talk and have a laugh and sing a few songs back and forth, do whatever. It's sort of like it's like CB radio, more or less. You just push to talk, and when you're finished talking, you let go, and it's a lot of fun. So we used to have a little thing. We used to have a room over at For the People. For that matter, any of you people who are listening could put in a good word for us over at For the People, because we would really dearly love to get the room back over there. In fact, when I re-registered several months back, there was a very kind little footnote thrown into my approval by Jennifer saying she'd love to, if we were interested, she'd love to get the room going again. I emailed her back, and I haven't heard back from her, and I guess she's busy, but maybe if 2 or 3 or 4 or 500 of you drop them an email over at For the People, for-the-people.com, that's FOR, and said, hey, get that Fidler room going again. We might be able to get something happening there. But in the meantime, we got this Ventrilo thing, and we'll put that in the show notes, and you guys can have a look, and hopefully in the not-so-distant future, we can have a chat. Maybe even this weekend before Lillian takes off and splits and leaves and goes to Barbados for 2 weeks to leave me here hopping off the walls.
Oh, dear. Yes, it's true. But he won't be hopping off the walls, I don't think.
Well, we'll have to see about that. And aside from that, just a big thanks to Bob Tucker for dropping over to republicofavalonradio.com and clicking on the PayPal button and throwing a little something into the pot for us.
Actually, he sent a check.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Which is really nice. And
okay.
And it was really such a surprise.
Wow. To
get that in the mail out of its blue. It was a really, really nice gesture.
Well, definitely much appreciated, Bob. One little unfortunate thing that's taken place here now is we seem to be having trouble with the Eye River. And one of the biggest parts of the show really was us getting out and about with the Eye River and being able to record things out around. And the Eye River's just not working right now. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get that fixed, or if we're going to have to look at some sort of an investment to try to get some sort of other piece of equipment to go out and be able to do this, to bring you all this stuff. So every little bit helps. That's what I'm trying to say. Every little bit helps, and we really appreciate Mr. Tucker's thumbs up, I guess.
Yeah.
And as well, people like Mary Emerson, who clicked over through to jimfidler.com and bought a boatload of CDs, and that helps as well. Mm-hmm. And that also helps spread the music, which is quite important to me. So
exactly.
I appreciate getting the music out there.
And Adam from the UK as well. He
Yes.
bought a CD just recently.
And rumor has it, Adam, your CD is on the way.
Yes, hopefully you have it before this podcast.
Well, now, Adam, once you get that CD, you're going to have to call the Roar line and give us a big roar of joy that you've received your CD. And that's pretty much it, is it?
No, I have one more thing.
Okay, all right.
I don't think we mentioned that Jim's album, Midnight Rover, was nominated for an East Coast Music Award.
No, we didn't, actually.
No, we didn't. And it's been a while, actually, since we've been on here, and I don't even think we knew since the last
No, we didn't,
podcast.
no, we didn't.
So anyway, that's a great honor to be nominated. It's a big award show in Eastern Canada, and the show is actually next Monday night, so we'll know then whether the album has won and Jim has won. We'll see. If not, it's a great thing anyway.
It's actually televised nationally, so any of you who have, through one form or another, some way of watching CBC, I don't know, through satellite or through some means or other, yeah, it's on next Monday night. I guess you could go to cbc.ca and do a search for other East Coast Music Awards or ECMA and tune in and have a look.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is it's the nomination is the big thing. So I don't really know how much more winning would be, because once you're nominated, you're nominated. It's like, okay, the CD has gotten a tip of the hat. It's gotten a bit of approval. And once that happens, it can't be taken away. So it's not like something's being offered that might be taken away. It's more like one of my children has been kind of given a scholarship or some sort of a good report card or something like that. So once you get nominated, that never goes away, I suppose. And then if you actually end up winning whatever, then I suppose that's nice. But we don't know what that's like, see? But between Lillian and myself now, that's our 10th East Coast Music Award nomination, and neither one of us has ever won.
Does that mean we're losers?
I think we're king. we're king and queen of the loser boys and girls. Yes. So, anyway, I would say it's more about the CD, and so I think she's a beautiful little girl, and if you guys could just sort of bear in mind next Monday night. What would the date be then?
27th.
27th?
Yeah.
So cosmically, somehow, if there's any wishes or prayers or whatever that you could muster, that would be greatly appreciated. But in the meantime, I'm just proud of my little girl. So.
And you can hear, if you haven't heard any of the album, you probably have heard some of it on the Republic of Avalon radio. But if you want to hear a bit more and kind of a tour of the album, go over to jimfidler.com into the music section, and you can take an audio tour of the album.
Yay.
So
all right. Good-o then. So that's, we pretty much covered everything?
And thanks to Lynette for the kind words.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, from the Slice of Life podcast. Don't know the URL right off the top of my head, but excuse me, I would assume that if you go to, say, Podcast Alley, you would find it over there, Slice of Life podcast, and certainly you would find reference to it, I think, on the blindcooltech.com over there, Larry Scootkon, his podcast as well, and Hope. Let's get in an extra little happy birthday to Hope. And what was that last podcast all about there, Hope?
We got a chuckle out of that one.
We were having a grand old chuckle. We just got back from the pub Friday night and just rooting around to see what was there, and we put that on and had a great old laugh. So sounds like you had a really nice birthday, and very kind of upbeat, and certainly that's a good thing.
Yeah, sounds like you're having a ball.
Yeah. Alrighty then.
Okay.
So this week, with no more shagging around on our parts, let's just push ahead. I will be speaking with Frank Maher, an absolute stalwart of the Newfoundland accordion. Oh, he played with all kinds of people. He's played on tons and tons of records, and played with Figgy Duff, very well-known Newfoundland group. And he's just finally gotten a CD out after decades. He finally has his own solo CD. So I'll be having a little chat with Frank. I'll be unveiling my new baby and all kinds of stuff like that. So hope you enjoy that, and wish Midnight Rover well next Monday, and wish Lillian well on Sunday, on her trip to Barbados.
We'll be seeing you maybe from the sandy beach.
Yeah, and she'll have the camera with her and some sort of iRiver or something. And so we'll have some stuff in the future for you and all that too.
Okay.
All right, then.
All right.
We'll catch you all on the other side. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
You're with the Roar!
Republic of Avalon Radio, you're with the Roar. I'm Jim Fidler, and with me here in the Root Cellar, we have the great honor of welcoming Mr. Frank Maher. How's it going?
All right, how's yourself?
Not bad for local, as we usually say. It's great to have Frank on board here. Frank we were just talking a little bit about computers and all this stuff. Frank's been at that for quite a while. And in fact, before here on the Roar, I've actually mentioned my Live 365 thing I used to do, what was it called? Roots Radio International. Frank was my number one listener, I think, my only listener at the time.
I'm sure there was more than that.
No, it was just you, I think. That was about it. But so, Frank, where does one start? You've been raising families and making music, and generally staying on the right side of the law for quite a while.
Right.
Barely.
Barely is right, yes. Yeah.
So, why don't we just start with what's going on right now with the CD? Tell us a little bit about your new CD, which was an awful long time coming, I might add.
Well, almost 70 years, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
It's going pretty good. It was nominated for the Canadian Folk Awards, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great.
Didn't win anything, but it was nominated anyway, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing about a nomination is that the nomination never goes away.
Yeah.
It'll always be nominated.
And I might be able to sell more CDs because they get that on the CD now, nominated for the Folk Awards, you know.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, they weren't not putting it on that. You know.
Oh, every little bit helps, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I guess you probably had some favourite bits that you had to get onto that CD, I suppose.
Well, there's a lot of stuff I didn't put on it, of course. But a lot of stuff was my favourite stuff, yeah. But if I had to put all my favourite stuff on it, I'd be about 10 years making a CD, you know.
And then it would be all full of, like, you know, rap and heavy metal and everything, I guess, too.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And people wouldn't know what to make of that, I suppose.
I wouldn't either.
There you go. So I guess the CD is, Mahervelous, is it?
Yes, it is Mahervelous. That's the name of it.
Aha.
Yeah.
Now, see, I should sue you for that.
Why is that?
Because that's the kind of sickness that I think of.
Oh, that's probably I got it from you. Who knows?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, who played on the CD with you?
Well, it's our little band called the Mars Bears. It's a takeoff, of course, of the Mars Bears company, but we just spell it Mahersbars, Mars Bears.
Uh-huh.
And it's Christina Smith, who was a fabulous fiddle player, and Jeannie Houston, who was a fabulous singer and a guitar player, and Rick West, who plays the boran.
Uh-huh. So you guys take requests?
Yes, we always take requests with us.
When does it stop? Right on. So you had you already had the band at the ready?
We had the band at the ready. We always play together, you know, I mean, for get-togethers, and every Monday we go to Christina's house and have a few tunes, you know. So somebody came up with the idea. In fact, the Mahervelous was making one a few years back, but I couldn't handle it because I wasn't very well. I had to have a quadruple bypass. I was wondering why I had pains in the chest, and I found out why.
Yeah, there was something going on there.
There was something going on there, so we had to postpone it for a few years. But I got out of the hospital then after another couple of years, then I got enough strength to make this one.
Well, I'd say there's a good few people quite pleased with that.
Oh yeah,
that turnout.
Yep.
Right. Oh, so we got the CD,
yeah,
and playing around. I'm just wondering now, okay, because we have a lot of listeners sort of all over Canada and the States and Europe and Australia and all this kind of stuff. I'm just wondering now, this is your first solo CD.
Right. I've been on about 40 CDs or more.
Yeah.
Different people, you know.
Well, we know Figgy Duff, for example.
Yeah, I played with them for 10 or 12 years.
Yeah. So Frank played with Figgy Duff. Some of you folks might know Pamela Morgan, Noel Dinn, and Frank, and
Dave Panting. Kelly Russell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quite the alumni.
Yeah.
And of course, that was the stuff. See, folks, if you might not know this, me here talking to Frank, myself and Frank, I don't know how long we've known each other.
Oh, a while.
Long time.
Yeah.
But that was the stuff when I was growing up, you know, when I was a wee fella. I was listening to Frank and Pamela and Noel and all hands out around making the music. And when I was not so much performing at the festivals and stuff, I'd be there and I'd be listening. And so now that I'm all grown up, I'm here actually talking to Frank Maher. And well, we've had a lot of good times, a lot of good. We're real serious, me and Frank, you know.
Yeah, right, sure.
Yeah. All the time. But the festivals and folk nights and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, with the Figgy Duff, we played all over the world. My God, we were the only Canadian band to ever play at the. I don't know since, but when we played at the New Orleans Jazz Festival back in 1988.
That's right. Yeah.
We were the first band ever played. I don't know if any other bands from Canada ever did that.
Was Emile at that? He was there.
Emile Benoit came with us. Yep.
Yeah.
And the CBC went with us down there and taped everything off.
Wow. So that's floating around somewhere.
I have it on video home.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Geez, that's brilliant. That'd be nice to have a look at.
Yeah.
Said the blind fella.
Yeah.
So that's 88. Now you had your 25th
in 99.
In 99.
Yeah.
You played with them from.
I started with them really in 77, and then off and on. Then from 1983 to 93, I was steady.
Yeah, because I remember one time we were playing reggae band I was playing with at the time. We were playing down at a place called Bounders, and we were shipping out, and the Duff was shipping in. I don't think you were playing with them then. They were doing some the
rock and roll stuff.
They were playing the pop music and all that.
Oh
yeah,
that was well. They had a great band for that.
Yeah.
I played with them once or twice with that, but not very often. They were called, what was the name of it? The Flip Side.
Yeah,
and played a lot of rock and roll, but it was good rock and roll. It wasn't just heavy metal stuff, you know.
No, I remember what's something that sticks out in my mind. Something like Jefferson Airplane, something and whatever. And you know, at the time, Bounders was a real sort of cornucopia of all the the fellas with the blue hair and the fellas with the green hair
and the spiked hair
and all that, and then the sort of the up and coming traddies and. The sort of people that were into the reggae and the ska and all this. So it was everybody all in the one place at the same time. And I remember the weekend that they played there, and I was just tickled to death because I'm a little traddy and grew up listening to rock and roll and all these different things. So for me, I was delighted, but I felt completely alone that weekend because they weren't pleasing the people there who wanted them to do the traditional stuff,
right? Yeah.
And then the other kids weren't really appreciating the stuff that I was, well appreciating. It wasn't the current pop music at the time or whatever it was. So anyway, That's just that was like, I guess that was 88. That was the summer of 88. The double daylight saving time. Remember
Right,
that?
That's right. Yeah.
Late barbecues.
Yeah. Well, the Duff sort of really peaked around the 80s. It didn't peak to around ago in 74, of course, from 74 on, but it really didn't peak till the 80s. Until, of course, it didn't put any CDs. LPs out in 1981 was their first LP.
Wow.
And they were on the go then for 7 years.
That's a long old spell out beating around playing live, I suppose.
Yeah.
Before all that.
Yeah. We played over in Ireland and Germany and everywhere, Scotland. Played all over the place.
Anything that sticks out in your mind from that time period?
I do, but I'd rather not say.
That's what I figured. Because the funny thing is, when we look back, hindsight is 20/20 and all that. Quite often, whenever we're doing things, we're just there and we're doing them, and we're not really considering what we're doing. Looking back now, is there anything about those times that you sort of, I would say, some magic that you see now that you didn't see at the time, or whatever?
Well, the music, of course, was magic, but the times weren't that good. We didn't make that much money first, We slept on people's floors and slept. Oh, yeah, my God. It was really hard stuff. Hard times.
Yeah.
But good music, but hard times. Yeah.
It's a funny thing, though. Sometimes without the hard times, it's hard to have the good music.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that a funny thing?
Yeah, that's true.
I guess all the best music, when you really think about it, it doesn't come from people who are well-fed and warm and dry and just kind of sitting around with nothing better to do but to come up with music,
Well, we weren't into it for the money, of course, because if we were, we'd be playing some other kind of music.
Yeah.
But we were just into it for the enjoyment. We used to go across Newfoundland getting songs and stories from all Newfoundland people, and and then put them into our repertoire. We really enjoyed doing it.
That was the biggest thing about the Duff. It was that kind of taking the music into, well, I guess in a lot of cases into the 20th century, really.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad we did, because all of these people who we got the music from are all dead now, and if we never had to get this music, that music would be gone. A lot of the music would be gone now.
Yeah. And people know the words to them songs and sing along and stuff now.
Right, that's for sure.
Yeah. Mrs. with the rabbit between her legs and all that.
Oh, yes. Rabbit in the basket.
Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Yep. Anyone... I'm just wondering of the whole concept, looking back at going around in the... I guess, again, for the listeners from away, I've talked a little bit in the past on the show here about sort of growing up a little bit and stuff like that, but it's sort of harder to imagine. I guess there must have been some characters you ran into knocking around and picking up some of these songs, having Skipper singing you the song in the kitchen, or Mrs. whatever. Anything jump out? Anything stick out that you might?
Well, sometimes we had a couple of the old people in the kitchen, then we'd be having a drink, and probably had to wait till the next day or the next night or something to finish the song, because people used to get sort of extra drunk, and forget the words, or probably I was getting drunk too, not playing recording so well,
And half them songs had about 58 verses.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's not counting the choruses.
Oh my God, they were long, really long. Of course, we had to cut them down. You see, we had to, cut down a lot of the songs to put them on records.
Yeah. You weren't any kind of a whippersnapper, upstart rookie even at that time.
Well, when I went with the Figgy Duff, I was over 40 years old, and that seems like a long, long while ago.
Wow.
I played with a couple of bands before that, like the Kitty Vitty Minstrels.
Yep.
Used to be on the go a long, long while ago. And no, that was it. That was the only one I think I played with. But after the Figgy Duff, then I went with the Plankerdown Band and the Planks and the John White Band and the Newfoundland Kitchen Band. And God, good music, but different kind of music,
Would you say probably, though, that, it's not like picking a favorite child or anything like that, but would you say probably that the Figgy Duff was probably for you kind of like your sort of, how people have that, the high school ring or the whatever, would you say that?
You're absolutely right. That's how it was with me. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly a good high school ring to have.
Yes, it certainly is. It certainly is.
All right, so why don't we actually just play a little bit of this brand spanking new CD that you got here instead of just dwelling on all this bygone stuff? Anything in particular that you might want to...
Well, I play all of these jigs and reels on a single row button accordion, which is my favourite kind of an accordion.
Me too.
I play a couple of reels like the Panic Hate and the Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay. And where will I find that? Will that be on the beginning? Because I like dropping the needle right at the beginning.
Yes, I think so.
Let's drop the needle now and see what happens. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio. Republic of Avalon Radio. You're with The Roar, and that was Frank Maher from his Mahervelous new CD. And we were talking a little bit before there about kind of going back a little ways, talking a bit about Figgy Duff. But I think I'd like to probe back a little further because, as you mentioned, you were over 40 when you started at that, and I think there's 40 years before that you were probably just not in some sort of suspended animation or something. There must have been something going on there, Frank.
Well, I raised 7 children and I had to work to raise them, so I didn't play any music for a good many years.
So what sort of jobs, what sort of career work did you do?
I certainly never. The only longest job I ever had was 27 years as manager of a pub called the Harbour Inn Club in St. John's East. Before that, I was a few other things. Like I worked in an office, and I was a pipe treader, a truck driver. My God, I did a lot of different things. But I finally was offered a job as a manager of a pub, and the pub that it was in St. John's East, and that's where I was from, you know, and I used to get good tips from all the crowd because there were a lot of longshoremen there, and they all made good money at longshore then, and they always gave me a lot of tips. I reared a family on tips rather than my pay, really.
Wow. Was there live music there, or was it pretty
live
much...
music, because I had it. I used to make sure there was live music there. I used to have little goings on there, little parties, little, you know. Would that have been mostly not so much kind of a PA system sort of set up? Would it have been sort of mostly sessions? Yeah, that's what I like to see. I like the sessions. One of these days, we're going to take Republic of Avalon Radio to a session in downtown St. John's where you can actually just hear the music being played without the PAs and the mics and all that stuff. There's something to be said about that. Well, the only time that the session at the Harbour Inn, where I worked, was ever mic'd was the time that one of the announcers from the CBC, Harry Brown, he's dead. Yeah. Well, Harry came in for a beer, and as it happened, Figgy Duff were there, and the Red Island were there, but that was... Don and the gang? Don and the gang. Yeah. And so Harry came in, he said, "Oh my God," he said, "Do you have this here all the time?" I said, "Well," I said, "every week." He said, "Would you mind?" He said, "If I go back to the studio and get a recording crew to come here and tape this off," because it wasn't that much time ago. This was, I'm talking about 20-odd years ago now, you know. Yeah. Or probably 30 years ago. And I said, "Sure, boy, bring him, come on down." And so he went off, and he came back with the CBC recording crew, and he taped off the goings on that night, and he had it on the CBC. Wow. Right across Canada. Wow. Yeah. Well, anyway, that was the only time that the sessions at the Harbour Inn were ever mic'd, was the time when the CBC were there that night. I don't suppose you have a tape of that floating around, do you? Yes. Do you? Yes. Gee whiz, it'd be nice to get a little bit of that on. I have that. I had an old tape recorder at the time behind one of I think it was the first tape recorder I ever had, and I just happened to have it behind the bar because I used to play a few old Irish tunes and that, for the customers on them, and the cassettes, the Old McNulty family, and all of the stuff. And so when Harry and them did come back with the CBC crew, I just happened to have a blank tape in the tape recorder at the time, so I just taped it off. And it was Nita Best was there, and a few more from the hour singing their songs, and Pamela Morgan was singing, and the band was playing, you know. So I taped all that off. Wow! Yeah. So how does that sound? That sounds okay. Sounds fabulous. Yeah. It'd be nice if we could get a little bit of that to play. And another time when the Kitty Vitty Minstrels, well, I didn't play with them. Then they came in the Harbour Inn one time. It was on a St. Patrick's Day, and I think it was 1981. And Jimmy Ring and Pat the Burke and a few of them came in and sat down and played, and I taped it off. So I have a recording of this Kitty Vitty Minstrels playing at the Harbour Inn back in 1981. We're going to have to get you back, Frank, and go through some of this. Another thing myself and Frank were talking about before we started talking here was we're both big OTR buffs, old-time radio. Oh, God, yes. The Shadow and Suspense and... The creaking door and all that kind of stuff. Sanctum, yeah. Yeah. But I think it would be interesting to have you back sometime, and we'll spin some of that old stuff, you know. Oh, sure. Maybe a bit of OTR or a bit of some of these recordings. Yeah, I also have a live recording with Figgy Duff, the only one in existence who says that. Wow. Live. It was at the Belmont or the Fairmount back in '99 at 25th anniversary. Oh, okay. Thing. Well, as long as that wouldn't step on anybody else's toes and all that kind of stuff, we'd love to. We'll probably play one track of it. At least play one track or a couple of excerpts or something like that. Right. Right. We'll have to leave that for the next time. Okay. Let's hope it'll be soon. Yeah. No, I think that'd be great. So, well, why don't we just go out with another cut from your CD, and just like to thank you for coming in and sharing your new CD and a bit of chat with our listeners all over everywhere. Well, there's one I play. It's a funny one, of course, is with me singing, so if I'm singing, it has to be a funny one. And it's called Miss Gilhooley's Party, and it's playing accordion and singing a song besides. So
that's one that anybody who's been around St. John's for the last few years, anyway. When did you really pull that one out?
Well, I had that on an old 78 record back in from the 20s, you know.
Yeah.
So I started to I put it was supposed to be bagpipes. Somebody cut a hole in the back of somebody's bagpipes. But I changed the words, and I had it for cutting a hole in the back of me box, which is the accordion, you know.
Yeah.
And so I just changed the bagpipes to the accordion.
When did you drag that out, though? Because I think that was only like a few years ago that you started doing that one.
Yeah.
Around folk night and stuff.
Around folk night, I started about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I always sang at home, you know, but I never did bring it out. One night I came out and I thought of it. I said, must try it now. See, the people loved it, you know. And I interspersed it with a few different jigs and reels and that, you know.
Like you would?
Like you would.
Okay, well, thanks again for coming in, and you will come back and play some of these recordings and things?
I'd love to.
I think that'd be great, yeah. That would be perfect. Now we got all this sort of shameless promotion for the CD out of the way. We can next time get together and just have some fun.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, thanks a million, Frank.
It was a pleasure.
And this is another track from Frank's CD.
Miss Gilhooley.
Yes, and you can get that if you go to www.o'briensmusic.nf.ca. It'll be in the show notes. You can go have a look. And here is Frank Maher again. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Miss Gilhooley, she gave a great party, and all of the gentry was there. O'Brien, the big undertaker, and Murphy, the genial mayor. The whiskey was flowing like water, and the Guinness was flowing also. And I give Miss Gilhooley a hint when I says, "Be Jesus, I'd sure like to go." So she invited me out to her party, and I brought the old box just by chance. She asked me to sing, but I says, no, but I'll play you a bit of a dance. So I picked up the box and began to play. But the boys, they were fooling about, for they kicked a big hole in the back of the box, and this is the tune that came out. Next time you go to a party, you better keep this in your mind. Be sure and stick close to the player, for he is a jolly good kind till he picks up the box and he starts in to play. But the boys will be fooling about, and he'll kick a big hole in the back of his box, and this is the tune that'll come out.
Have you ever been locked out of your house, or locked out of your computer, or locked out of your cell phone? It's not fun being locked out. These days on the internet, blind people are running into something called CAPTCHA, or more commonly known as word verification. This is a form of blocking spammers from a website, and it is a picture on the screen with jumbled up characters that have to be deciphered and entered into a text box and submitted. Unfortunately, screen reading technology at this time doesn't work with CAPTCHA or word verification. Therefore, blind people are once again locked out. We can do something about this. One of the companies that has so far resisted attempts to have them change their services to make them more accessible by using alternatives to word verification is Google. Services such as Blogger, Gmail, and other sites are not accessible due to word verification. You can change that. Please point your browser to www.blindwebaccess.com. There, you'll find information concerning the Google Word Verification Accessibility Petition. We need to get the word out to as many podcasters and as many people in the media as we can to get this point across to Google that they must change their sites and make them accessible by providing alternatives to CAPTCHA. Please sign the Google Word Verification Accessibility Petition today. Don't wait till tomorrow because you'll never sign it. Go up to blindwebaccess.com and do it now. Do the right thing. Make Google understand that we will not be ignored and we refuse to be locked out. Thank you.
All right, here I am with my new baby that I picked up at O'Brien's Music. It's kind of funny how it happened. The little bit, I guess, that you guys got recently, that NTV interview that I did about podcasting, mostly about podcasting. They tried to get me to talk more about the show and about the music and, you know, myself and the music and stuff like that, but I was kind of a man on a mission. I really wanted to drive home the point that people can listen to podcasts and people can do podcasts. It's not as difficult as a lot of people seem to think it is. I wanted to kind of demystify it a little bit. But anyway, it all went really well, and Steve, the guy, the cameraman, the guy who put the whole piece together, was great to work with, and big thanks to Steve for making that file available to us and to you. And that's just a little piece of the archives kind of thing. We also uploaded that to archive.org, which is very nice. Anyway, that day was a rather chilly day, and in getting ready to take our little stroll over to the Celtic Hearth, where we actually did the sit-down, me yakking into the camera part of it, we had to start from somewhere. He wanted to shoot us on the street, you know, the way we kind of do our thing, as you all know, when we get out and about with our microphone and do all that sort of stuff. So he wanted to kind of capture that, us in our natural element, out doing the roaring down the street. And so we decided O'Brien's Music was handy enough, handy being proximic, in proximity. Handy. We use that here. That's part of our language. Something can be handy as in, what's the other use for that word? Handy. Something is handy. It comes in handy. It's useful. Also, he's very handy, which means he's good with his hands. He's also good to have around, I guess. But handy, we usually say handy is nearby, close to, so on and so forth. Anyway, there you go. So we figured O'Brien's was handy enough, and we would start our little walk from there. And when Steve went to get his Drummond's from the car, all his equipment and so on, It was a bit chilly, and I said to Lillian, why don't we go inside, because it's too darn cold out here, and have a look around. You never know what we'll find. So we went in, and I said, do you have any like mandolas or anything kicking around that I can just sort of touch and play around with for a moment until Steve says, all right, we're ready, you know. And so they gave me a mandola. It was a Trinity College mandola, and I started playing around with it, and I wasn't really all that impressed. So I enjoyed a little tune and handed it back to them and said thanks, and was pretty much getting ready to go. And he says, we got this other instrument here. And I said, oh, really? And I kind of looked at the cameraman, and he still wasn't quite ready. And I said, why not? I'll have a look at it. And if you will go back at and have a look at the video that you received through the feed recently, that file, that 3-minute TV interview, at the beginning features me playing this very baby right here that I hold in my hands. And the minute I took it into my hands, oh my God, it was just made for me. I've been trying to make the sound of this thing here, this particular little baby, for years now. Just trying to fake it as though I actually had her. But now I do, and she's here. She's an Italian-made Musicalia from Italy, and we had a look at the website and saw how they made these guys, and wow, very nice. They craft all the various parts of the instrument and put it together, and so it's not some kind of a cheap assembly line thing. And it is, in case you were wondering, all this suspense, it is an octave mandolin. Now, it's a very contentious instrument because we have all kinds of instruments that people keep getting confused. These mandocellos and octave mandolins and mandolas and bouzouki and citerns and all these sort of, you hear all these different names. And I'm sticking with the most common sense school on this one. I am not going to call this a bouzouki because to me it does not feel or sound or play like a bouzouki at all. And the tuning isn't a bouzouki tuning. So it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. And to me, an octave mandolin, by definition, is an octave below a mandolin. So a mandolin is tuned G, D, A, E, and the octave mandolin is one octave lower, G, D, A, E. And that's how this little baby came to me. And of course, I had to whack it into one of my bizarre open tunings, as I tend to do with instruments. And I ended up with a G, D, G, D. And then, of course, I had to capo it. I had to retune it then up a half a step on the G's. And how did I do that? No, that's right, up a half a step. So the G and the D became a G sharp and a D sharp. And down a half a step on the A and the E, so they became an A flat and an E flat, which is the same thing as the G sharp and the D sharp. You musical folks will know exactly what I mean. And that gives me a nice sound. Gives me string, and string. And it gives me octave, skip, octave, and octave, skip, octave as I touch the instrument here. So it gives me that nice full open sound, which I tend to like. I'm a very drony kind of guy, Give me those drones, and they get into my bones. So here we have this thing. Instead of G, D, A, E, I've brought the G and the D up a half a step, and the A and the E down a half a step. Now, the instrument itself, which I have right here, that's me tapping on the front. And if I turn it over and tap on all around the back, it's a round-backed instrument. In other words, the back of the instrument is like a bowl. It's bowl-shaped, and that reminds me, what the heck? Maybe some of you people can let me know. What is a half a bowl full? I don't get that. How much is a half a bowl full? Anyway, yes. So we have a round back, very, very well crafted, as I was mentioning. Boy, it took some work to make this instrument. The neck is the neck itself. It's a rounded kind of neck, and I can see along the edge there where they fretted it, where they put the frets in. You know, it's obviously not an assembly line job. And the machine heads, the tuning pegs, are the classical guitar style so there's no actual posts sticking up where you see, you know, where you feed the strings in. These are like rollers inside, so you feed the string in through the hole, and then you turn the machine head, or the knob, or the twiggy, as we like to call it sometimes. You turns the twiggy till the string gets right tight in that, and then you turns it some more until it gets right. So when it's right tight, not too tight, but just tight enough to be right, then it's right on and you're ready to go. The bridge on this is, well, I guess it's a floating bridge. It could be a floating bridge if I loosen all the strings. So no weird mechanisms going on there. And the sound hole is a kind of a bouzouki sort of sound hole. And the shape of it, well, how would you describe that? I don't know. Kind of like a funny sort of, anyway, circly, and then across on the top, circly. So you got a kind of a circly on the top and a circly on the bottom, and the big hole in the middle on the other side of the neck. Aside from that, it has strings on it, and we'll get to that now. The strings on this beautiful little baby. Now, as I said, I'm tuned the GD, actually sharp. So the open tuning of the instrument is that. Now I have, that would be an A flat, and A would be capo on the first fret. B flat would be capo on the second fret. So I am now going to capo. I don't want to be in B flat. I want to be in B. That's where I want to be. Let's see. Will this cooperate? I have to retune a little bit. Hang on. Okay. That's close enough for rock and roll. Yes, so now we are in B flat instead of A flat. Capoed 1, 2, 3. Capoed on the third fret. So what am I saying? A flat? Do I have this right? Let's see. A flat, and then this would be A, and then this would be B flat, and this is B. Yes, I'm right. Counting my frets. Fret not. And here's what we get. We have 2 strings together, and the same thing 3 more times. So we have 4 sets of double strings, which means it's kind of like playing 4 strings, only they're doubled, like you see on a mandolin or on a 12-string guitar. The thing being on this instrument, the top two strings, or the top four, or the top two pairs of strings, are actually octaves. So what you get is, that's the top string, that's the string right next to it. So you get this high note, and then the low one. And then together. And then the next string down, the next pair of strings. So that gives you your octave there. And then, of course, those are unison. The next two down, and the last two. Okay. That's it. So, that's what we get there. Now, with this interesting tuning that I have, that's our standard scale. And there we go. A couple of nice little scales there. And let me just show you how this beautiful little thing actually performs. I'll play you a little tune. On the last little piece there, you heard Frank Maher ending with a song called Miss Gilhooley's. And at the end of it was a tune called The Cock of the North. Most people refer to it as Auntie Mary. So if it's good enough for Frank, Rick, Christina, and Jeannie, I guess it's good enough for me and my baby. This is I'll just give you a little demonstration of Auntie Mary, or the Cock of the North. Yeah. So there it is. It's me and my baby, the new octave mandolin. Hope you've enjoyed this little segment and the little tune and my incessant ramblings about this thing, this little girl that there's no way I could talk enough about. And here's a little bit of music to send you away. Here's a little thing what I built with my own two pudgy little hands with the help of my brother Phil, and it's called Bound for St. Pierre. And I wish I could say the same. We'll catch you on the other side.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
You're with the Roar!
Well, that's about it for another week. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and thank you very much for staying subscribed. By the way, we just checked the stats. We have just passed the 15,000 mark, so thanks to everybody for spreading the word about Republic of Avalon Radio. And we'd love to hear from you. Give us a shout on the Roar line, 1-724-426-8176. Email us at republicofavallonradio@gmail.com. And more than anything, go to our website, www.republicofavallonradio.com, and take part in the many ways available there for you to do so. Take care, everybody. From myself and Lillian, take care of each other, and we'll catch you next time right here on Republic of Avalon Radio. Say good night, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
A Root Cellar production.